Welcome to the Kung Fu Physicist podcast. I am the Kung Fu Physicist. I'm Sifu Eric, and I'm here to explain the science of fighting and talk about how Wing Chun can benefit your life. Also, I have with me my co-host Rachel today, of course.
Here I am.
And what do we got on the agenda today, Rachel?
All right, so topics of the day. We have Wing Chun versus boxing. What's the difference? A message for our students practicing Wing Chun here at the studio. And our physics lesson for the day, acceleration. How to maximize your speed.
Okay, very good. All right, so first topic, because a lot of new people that come in, they ask us actually, is this the kind of karate? Oh, I'm here to train karate. And I have to explain to them that, no, this isn't karate. This is Wing Tsun Kung Fu. And there's a whole background to that. But what I often say to them is that Wing Chun is actually very close to boxing. So I know some people who came in here who would train boxing. Shout out to Nick Rado. He's a really good boxer, Golden Gloves boxer. I believe he's got some medals and stuff. But yeah, the Wing Chun versus boxing. People often ask, oh, what am I supposed to do against a boxer? Does boxing win? Does boxing just beat Wing Chun and stuff like that? Or does Wing Chun just beat boxing?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
So the answer to that is it depends on the Wing Chun practitioner. It depends on the boxer. So if you have somebody like, I don't know, Floyd Mayweather or maybe Mike Tyson versus somebody who's been training Wing Chun like 3 months.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I'm going to bet on Tyson, okay, or Mayweather.
Yeah.
Okay. But both are really skilled arts with the hands. So they're actually very related to each other. So boxing, Wing Chun is actually a form of boxing. It's some people had called it like Chinese boxing, like back in the day.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when the English and everyone first went over to Asia, they said a lot of martial arts they called Chinese boxing, but in the South, they saw a lot of stand-up arts like this one, and they called it Chinese boxing. So Wing Chun is very similar to boxing in that we mainly use our hands for striking. We try not to pick up our legs, like we keep both feet on the ground most of the time. And our goal is to move around and essentially knock somebody out with our fists.
Nice.
So in that sense, Wing Chun and boxing are very much the same. The difference is that in boxing, you're training for a sport.
Yeah.
Or typically a sport, something like that. Yeah, competition. So you're training for the boxing league, the boxing matches. And so in that, your emphasis is on being very fit and being very in shape to go those, I think it's 12 rounds. 12 rounds, and which are extremely grueling to go through all that. And to essentially outlast the other boxer. It's like a fitness competition. And on top of that, there's the skill. Obviously, you got to know how to play the game.
Yeah.
So boxers can be super technical.
With rules and...
Yes. They have to follow their rules, but they have, just like Wing Chun, a minimum amount of punches that they do.
Oh.
Yes. So Wing Chun's hand movements are very minimal. We don't have a lot. We effectively have a straight punch, an uppercut, a hook, and then a couple of fancier moves with our hands open, like a palm strike, a spade palm, and another hand that's like a whipping hand that we hit with the edge.
Why is that? Why is it only a minimum amount?
Why? You want to have, in a real situation, you want to have the least amount of selection.
Okay.
Right? You don't have to think, oh, which move was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to do this kind of hook, or I was supposed to do that kind of, thing like that, right?
Right.
We want something that's straight to the point and it's going to finish the job quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we only have the movements that we need. There's some other fancier movements with the palms open on the dummy, and but effectively every move is meant for a knockout. So the one set of moves that we have that boxers don't have is that we also have kicks
Mm-hmm.
And we have elbow strikes, high
cool.
and low elbow strikes, as well as shoulder strikes. So we can strike with the shoulder. We can also strike with our heads, but it's not.
Dang.
Yeah, it's not preferred.
Yeah.
But we do headbutts and stuff as well.
Sweet.
Yeah, but then with our legs, obviously we have knees, we have our kicks, our feet, right? We have front thrust kick, we have a side kick, we have this cool slant thrust kick, which is not in the other martial art. And we have, actually we don't have a reverse kick in the system, but we can do any kick effectively. But essentially front thrust kick, side kick, and slant thrust kick is our main kicks. But we do a lot of footwork. And that has to do with tripping people up and tripping people's legs. So a lot of times I'll give our secret defense away. So if somebody's skilled in boxing, the way that you stand is you stand with your legs pretty much wide apart. And we stand with our legs closed in together. And some people think, oh, well, that's not as mobile. You can't move around like that. And it's like, yeah. But the narrow stance protects our groin.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of times when people in sports are not used to getting kicked directly in the groin, right? So again, we're a self-defense art.
Yeah.
So that's prime target right there.
And meant for like real world situations. So.
Exactly. If you're going to be in a real world situation, be like, oh, I'm not going to be dishonorable. I'm going to be, the most honorable fighter there is. And someone's going to hit you in the back of the head with a chair or something.
Yeah.
Right. That's what's going to happen. So, in Wing Chun, we have a lot more options because we're not a sport. So, that said, a lot of people ask, well, who would win in a fight? A Wing Chunner or a boxer or something like that, right? And the answer is whoever's more skilled. That's the end of it.
Okay.
Right? If you want to put somebody who trains Wing Chun into a boxing match, like an official match, so you get your gloves and your
under their rules,
under the rules, I would obviously bet on the boxing person, because they just know how to play the game,
right? And
we don't know how to play the game, whatever game that is. And you saw it when like when Conor McGregor is a famous UFC fighter, and he went to go, he's like, I'll do boxing, right? I can't remember who he fought against. It was a big match. I'm not sure if, I'm not even going to misspeak because I can't remember the name of the person he fought. But of course, what happened? What do you think happened? He lost. Yeah, he lost. Why? Because he was in UFC, which is one sport, and he switched gears to another sport, which is boxing. Yeah. Right? So he had to go and abide by all the boxing rules, all the boxing regulations. He had to train for the boxing match. Some people like to argue, is UFC more intense or is boxing more intense? I don't know about more intense. Like, they're both physically super exhausting. Yeah. You have to be in like your peak shape to do each. But boxing just lasts a lot longer. And the UFC, the total time is shorter. I believe it's 3 rounds at 5 minutes. And it's boxing is 12 rounds at, I think it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You guys are all gonna rip me up because I actually don't watch boxing too much. Right, I haven't in a long time. I do like to watch the matches sometimes, but I don't remember the exact time. But it's just that duration. You need a lot more cardio fitness, I guess, for boxing. Like, you have to last a lot longer in general. Yeah. But your energy output is not as high as in MMA. Okay. So in MMA, the energy output is much higher for a shorter time. Yeah. So you just have to train your body like a different way.
So what if we put like a high level, like a master Wing Chun dude, right, against a boxer of some kind?
Again, it depends on the situation and
But like no rules, street fight.
No rules.
Go.
I would bet on the Wing Chun guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no rules. I would bet on the Wing Chun master because that's his or her realm.
Right.
Is the no rules landscape. Right.
Like real world
it's just
situation.
Real world. They
get
run
in
into each other. They get in a fight. Yeah, I would go with the Wing Chun master on that one.
Plus, because you're really trained to do it as it would be a real world fight.
But again, it's like if there's so many variables. If somebody's like a boxer who's just like, I don't know, injured his leg or something, so he's been taking a break for like the last 6 months or something, and then he runs into it, right? So you're talking about like peak people like going at it, similar weights, similar heights. I would still bet on the Wing Chun person.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a real world situation. That's exactly what we train for.
Right.
So now that's in our game.
Yeah.
So now they're playing our game essentially, but our game is there's no game.
Right.
That's the difference, right? Yeah. Okay, I think that's enough on that.
Awesome. Shoot us any questions if you have any of those. Okay, if you could, we're going to go over a message for our students training Wing Chun.
Okay, yeah. So for our students here in the school, a lot of you, when you're training at the beginning, you feel really good because you're learning all this new stuff and you see yourself getting better and better, like pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
That's what our system is designed to do. And it's probably true in a lot of other places, arts as well.
Definitely, yeah.
So in the very beginning, you get better at a very rapid pace because you're just not good in the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You have no skill. So you start building that skill, so you're going to see a lot of like progress right in the beginning. Then after that, your progress is going to start to really slow. It's going to be only like little bits of progress. And that's actually how it continues forever. Right? Yeah. So for somebody who's a master level, like Sifu Will Parker, who's going to be coming here in October, and I'm trying to do a podcast with him, so hopefully I can get him in here for a podcast. I would be super happy about that. Someone would ask me, what does it take to become master level? Because the masters have something just different about them. There's just some way they move where you just, like, you cannot do anything against these guys. And it's really infuriating to not be able to, like, do anything.
Oh, I just want to know, were you ever able to go on a match with Sifu Will Parker?
I mean, it's not a match, but, I try to, we chi sao.
What do you guys call it, like a scramble, or?
No, because with us, it's, it would be like sparring.
Okay, sparring, yeah.
But throw back to the boxing thing. In boxing, the matches are, like, however long. Like, for instance, so we do, in Wing Chun, we're practicing for real world, so we're practicing like a maximum outburst for like 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay. Like
tops, right? Because that's really what you have in real life to like get out of something. So you're not hanging around doing all this stuff and like showing off. You're like, get out of there fast.
Yeah.
So we practice like maximum full force for 10 to 15 seconds. So when we spar, we do like a minute of sparring.
Okay.
And we also have a saying: if you haven't won the fight in 2 seconds, then you've lost.
Oh, damn!
So we have 2 seconds to finish a conflict.
Wow!
Essentially,
oh, that's
right?
Cool. Yeah.
So we want to maximize our efficiency at doing that. So that said, there's no chance for me with Sifu Will. There's no chance.
Really?
Yeah, so it starts and it's over. It's already over. It does, like, I've already, like, Like it feels like when I start, I have already lost. I've sparred with some of his guys. He'll set us up in sparring matches. But I train with him, and sometimes he goes and tries to get me, and I try to go and get him and do something, and it's very futile. Yeah, so it's he's not invincible or anything.
Yeah.
But it's like every tiny little inch or little bit that you're off is like the end. So it's like you start and it's over. Like you've lost, right? Like next thing I know, he's just like bam, bam, just pummeling the hell out of me. And that was it. It's over. Okay, so it doesn't matter what I do. It's like maximum, like within a half a second, it's done. Like I'm finished. That's the end of the story, right? But that's the goal with Wing Chun. You want to, like people in other sports and stuff. Oh, we want a fair fight. We want a fair match and stuff like that. Mm. And with us, there's no such thing as a fair fight.
Okay. So
you want to make the other person, give them absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
Give them no anything whatsoever. So if you work with somebody like that who's just specifically training to do that, then, once you're there, it's over. It's the end. And that's just the end of it. Yeah.
So these masters...
How did we get on this topic?
Because we were talking about masters and like how they just have something different.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So what I was saying was a lot of students, they start getting discouraged about, 6 months in, like a year in. But it's really important that they keep training during that time. Mm-hmm. So we're always trying, like with our kids' programs, to keep the kids going because sometimes their parents aren't seeing their progress anymore.
Right.
They're not seeing their own progress. It's a whole, like, they feel like they're not getting better, but they actually are getting better.
Yeah.
And to the new parents who come in and they have a kid testing for red belt or like orange belt, like our lower belts, and they see one of our advanced students, they're like, oh my God, that student is so good.
Yeah.
They're really good. How'd you get them to do that? And like, just practice. Just do the program. There's no secret. You just keep on practicing. So the difference is that when you take that little bit of extra step, like every day, every week, taking that little tiny extra step, eventually you're going to be so far ahead of everyone else.
Right. Yeah.
That it will be amazing. But for you don't see it because you're only taking a little step.
Yeah.
You're only taking a little step. Just a little step.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, within about 3 months, most of our students can like fight pretty well. And then after that, it's a long time until somebody can actually like effectively control a student.
Right.
Like because the progress is really slow. And that's with all systems with anything. So it just takes many years of hard work to get up there. Mm-hmm. But when you do get up there, people think that you're amazing or invincible.
Yeah.
But you're not. You've just been practicing a long time.
Yeah.
That's it. You just have high skill.
You practice a skill that let's say it's something really hard that you can't get, and you do it over and over and over and over, and you're just not getting it, and not getting it, and you're feeling like you're going nowhere. And then all of a sudden, after all this hard work and all these failures, all of a sudden you get it.
Yep.
But it's like all that time you feel like you were getting nowhere. Even with your practicing, you're failing every time. Mm-hmm. And then even though it doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere, you actually are. So it's just, you just can't see it. Yep. You can't feel it. You can't see it. And so it's discouraging.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly the same thing with the art here.
Yeah, and then people want to give up. So
yes. So that's my message to you guys. If you feel like you're not going anywhere, or you feel like you're set back because of an injury, or if you feel like, I haven't been making any progress lately, it's just a feeling. Just let it pass because you actually are making a lot of progress. So.
All right.
Yep.
Well, let's move on to our physics lesson for the day. Acceleration.
All right. Acceleration. Okay, like I said, I'm going to keep this one short today, guys. How much time we got? 21 minutes. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So acceleration is essentially how quickly you change speed. Okay, so if you think about it, you're in your car, you press on the gas, you're accelerating. If you press on the brake, you're decelerating, right? It's how quickly you change speed. All right, so how do we make acceleration work for us? Well, if you want to maximize your punching power and your punching speed, you have to learn to accelerate quickly. So you have to practice a lot of quick burst exercises, okay? So one thing I like to do is full range of motion exercises. So a lot of people, for instance, will practice push-ups or bench press or anything like that. And for instance, the arm will only go to 90 degrees and the chest won't touch the ground. For acceleration, what you need to do is the change of velocity over change in time, essentially, right? So how do we make play of that? First of all, you have to work on your quick twitch muscles to be able to move quickly. And maybe I could do a little exercise about that, how to move very fast. And secondly, when you can actually release all of the energy into your opponent. So what that's happening, they're experiencing acceleration too when they get hit. So you want to maximize that acceleration that they feel. So they're going from 0 to a certain speed in a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. And that's called a force of impact. And so the force of impact takes place over a very short time period. So let's do a physics problem together, okay? Oh, no. Yes, here we go. Okay. All right, so we'll say that somebody's head, they have a really fat head, so their head's going to weigh 10 kilograms, okay? Big head, all right? Okay, and you're going to punch them in the head, all right?
Okay.
So their head changed from 0 meters per second to 1 meter per second in 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, so they changed it in 1 second, all right? So from 0 to 10 meters per second in 1 second. So in this instance, you're kind of pushing their head, all right? So now the force is 10 kilograms times the change in speed over time, right?
Okay.
So the change in speed was 1 meter per second.
Okay.
And the time was 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that means that the force you put out was effectively 10 newtons.
Okay.
Okay. So 1 newton is 1 kilogram meter per second per second.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. Or kilograms times meters over second squared for those of you who are into math and stuff. All right. So I hope, so maybe we can put something on screen and people will get all equation-y in their face, all right? Yeah. So now let's say you did that in a half a second.
Okay.
So now you hit them and their speed changed faster in a half a second.
Okay.
So we doubled the time. So what do you think that means? So remember, first time, one second was 10 newtons of force we put out.
Okay.
So now we cut the time in half.
Would it be less or more?
It would be more.
Interesting. Okay, how?
So you did the time in half. Mm-hmm. So that means that your force has doubled.
Okay.
Right? So that means now that you have done 20 newtons of force hitting them. That's the force of impact. Now, let's say you go really fast and you change their speed from 1 meter per second in only a tenth of a second.
Dang.
So that means now it's 1/10 of the original time. That means it's 10 times the initial amount. So now you've put 100 newtons of force into them, right? So
my head's gonna explode.
Yes, that's the goal.
Mine too.
Pow!
Now,
right? Yeah, you can melt your brain with the fist or with some equations. All right. So if you reduce that time to that the other person's head or body changes speed, then you will generate much more force with them. So the key to doing that is to actually relaxing your muscles.
Okay.
So the more you hold your energy back in you, the more you feel the power, but the opponent feels less because you are increasing the time that your force hits them.
Oh.
So you want to decrease the time.
Okay.
The lower the time, the higher the force.
Oh.
Yes. So if you can hit them in 1,000th of a second,
Yeah.
then, or if the speed of their head changes from 0 to 1 meter per second in 1,000th of a second,
Ooh.
then you've put in 10,000 newtons of force.
Whoa.
Right?
Okay.
That's the idea. So the shorter the time period, the harder you will hit them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a physics lesson of the day. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to cut it off right now.
Goodbye.
Yes, and we will see you next time.